Well, up first for trending, we got Trump becomes the first ex-president to be indicted for a criminal case. Damn.
Calling the decision, quote, an attack on our country and the likes of which we've never seen before. According to his legal team, he's expected to turn himself in sometime next week. He will be fingerprinted and photographed when he appears in court for arraignment.
Yeah, people were out here till about midnight. That's when we left, and they seemed like they were still going. So 5 a.m. here is, or a little after 5 a.m. is when we arrived in this spot. So you can see it's pretty calm. The bridge leading into Mar-a-Lago yesterday was just lined with police, making sure that everything was kept safe, that people weren't getting too rowdy, and it did stay that way. All we heard were plenty of honks and cheers. Right now, it does seem like people are starting to arrive in this area. But even yesterday, the protesters themselves were urging people to remain calm and keep everything.
Keep and fight. Not yet. Don't do nothing. Calm down. That's right. All they're doing is making Trump greater.
Yeah, so what you heard from that protester there was the concept that this is actually going to help the former president. We heard that from a lot of people last night. We also heard people expressing their shock at this indictment and saying, one person told me she is enraged. One person told me she is just feeling like that the former president is being treated unfairly. That's been kind of the consensus among protesters last night.
See, man, I've been saying this shit for a long time. Trump a motherfucking gangster, man. Motherfucking folks gonna ride for Trump, man. You don't believe me? Even you see the black folks out there. You even got the black folks out there down for Trump, man. Trump a gangster, man. I ain't no hater. I ain't never been no hater. Up next, we got Florida Senate approves permanently carry a firearm.
The Senate passed a controversial bill that broadens who can carry concealed weapons. The bill already passed the House last week, and the governor already said he's ready to sign it into law. And once that happens, Floridians may conceal carry without a permit, just a valid ID without proof of a firearm safety course. Proponents argue this would make it easier for lawful citizens to protect themselves.
Under the bill, lawful Floridians would not need to undergo training. Senate sponsor Jay Collins of Tampa.
We have a constitutional right to bear arms.
Supporters say it eliminates red tape for lawful gun owners. They believe it's a safety measure, but opposers,
how many more lives have to be lost,
see it as anything but, especially after the mass school shooting in Nashville this week.
If you're scared, you better stay your ass in the house. That's all I can tell you.
Amazing.
You better take your ass to church. You better pray. You better do all that shit that you know you're supposed to do, boy. Cause it's wild, wild west around this bitch from here on out, you heard me? Ooh, excuse me. Up next, we got the UV nail polish dryers. Damage to human cells.
Damn. And you're going to spend some time under a UV nail polish dryer to cure the gel. But a new study finds the ultraviolet light emitted by these nail salon dryers may raise your risk of skin cancer. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego and University of Pittsburgh found that chronic exposure to light from the devices can cause cell death and DNA damage. And dermatologist Dr. Heather Ivey says the risk is cumulative, meaning the more time that you spend under the lamp, the higher your risk.
So definitely if someone, goes to the nail salon every other week and continually gets that DNA damage done when they're drying their nails, that's definitely more risky than if they went, once or twice a year for special occasions.
The FDA, which regulates these devices, says while UV light can damage skin and potentially cause skin cancer, UV dryers are considered low risk when they're used as directed. And the agency says it's not received a single report of skin cancer from nail salon lamps. If you're concerned about exposure, the agency recommends choosing another type of manicure or pedicure.
I mean, you could use normal nail polish and that doesn't require the UV setting. And then there's also SNS, which just has you apply your finger in a dipped powder instead of having to get it set with the UV light.
The FDA says the less time you spend under the lamps, the less your risk of UV exposure. But in general, the agency says you should not be using drying lamps for more than 10 minutes per hand per manicure.
Man, you gotta tell shouting them, man. All my niggas out there tell shouting them, slow down. We're getting all the goddamn nail jobs and shit like that, man. Take it easy, baby. You get your nails done every week. Take it easy, baby. You gonna have counts. Ain't that what they saying? Up next, we got Florida bill aims to permanently eliminate sales tax on diapers.
Spend probably over $100 a week, maybe every other week. It's expensive.
Current legislation eliminated the tax on diapers for 1 year. It's set to end in June. And right now, parents like Hennings are happy to save wherever they can.
Yes, anywhere, for sure. Everything for children is expensive. Daycare is ridiculously expensive. Diapers, formula, all of it.
Orlando Representative Anna Escamani has filed legislation, House Bill 29, to make the elimination of the tax permanent and extend it to adult incontinence products. She says these products contribute a considerable amount in tax revenue, so she struck a deal to test it out.
So the compromise that we made with Republican leadership was that we would do a temporary tax break just on children's diapers to see how the policy would go, what would be its implementation, and how would the state budget fare. And because of its success, I now have the buy-in by Republican leadership to make the children's diaper tax permanent. We're still trying to get that buy-in for adult products as well.
The same bill has been filed in the Senate by Senator Lauren Book. A release from her office says 21 other states have already removed sales tax charges for diapers. So far, the Senate bill has received unanimous yes votes in the Finance and Tax and Community Affairs committees. Escamani is hopeful the tax break will pass permanently.
Diapers are not a luxury item. They're an essential for families.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Up next, we got TikTok CEO explaining to Congress why his kids ain't even on the TikTok app. Stinking bitch.
Well, then why don't you let your 8-year-old child on TikTok?
I have seen these news articles. I would like to address that. My kids live in Singapore, and in Singapore, we do not have the under 13 experience. If they lived here in the United States, I'll let them use the under 13 experience.
Okay, so you're saying it's because of the country you live in doesn't have the same mechanisms. Is there a reason you don't have those same mechanisms everywhere?
In principle, we want to provide a good experience for our users in general. We don't want to monetize from people who are under 13. In the US, we are COPA compliant, and as part of that, we will deem as I want to get these specifics right. We will deem as a particular type of audience, mixed audience app. I want to make sure that that's right. And as a result of that, we have to provide an experience to our under 13 users in this country as well.
Ain't that about a bitch?
That's amazing.
People like the owners and shit, they kids don't even use that shit. You know what I'm saying? I just had a feeling it was like that. You know what I'm saying? And that shit confirmed it. Y'all be careful, your eye drop users out there. We got an eye drop recall. A couple people died from a bacteria outbreak, so they've been recalling a lot of these top brand eye drop companies. Check this shit out.
It may be disturbing, but this was reality for South Florida resident Clara Oliva when she caught the rare form of bacteria Pseudomonas.
Cristales dentro del ojo, cristales molidos. She says the sensation is like having charred pieces of glass or crystal inside your eye.
Oliva, with her attorney translating, says her eye had to be removed. And she's not the only one. The CDC is linking the rare bacteria to eye drops made by Global Pharma Healthcare, the most common brand being EzraCare Artificial Tears. That's what Clara Oliva says she was using. Now she's suing the company.
The damage that you see physically is horrible, but the damage emotionally is even worse.
First time I've heard it being caused by an eye drop.
Dr. Ben Larson says the brands of the eye drops that were recalled weren't very common. He's warning patients not to use preservative-free eye drops. If you need them, he says to avoid reusable ones since they're more likely to have bacteria.
People that have allergies will seek out preservative-free, but you want the one use and throw it away.
Dr. Larson warns anyone with eye pain or redness to go to a doctor right away.
I'm surprised it's gone this far. It's a super bug.
That's amazing.
Well, that's it for trending, man.